Hello, what's up guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new here, my name is Emmanuel. In today's video we will learn how to encrypt text in Python using the Caeser Cipher Encryption. Now this is by no means the best way to save or store your passwords or secrets. This video is just for educational purposes, in case you want to know how Caeser Cipher Encryption works. And the way I said is because it's easy for whenever we encrypt with Caeser Cipher, it's going to be easy for hackers to detect patterns in these secrets or encrypted text. Okay, now without wasting time, let me quickly explain how it works, and then we'll code it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put BC here. Okay, so BC is gonna be sent as our message. Now whenever you want to encrypt with Caeser Cipher, you're gonna always need a key. So for example, if the key is 2, now the way it works is we're gonna loop through each character in this message. So when we get to B, we're gonna check for B, the index of B in this list. So index of B in this list is 1, and then we're going to add 2 plus 1, so that will be 3. Now we're going to let me create a new string here. So we're going to check for the item and index of 3, which is 0 1 2 3, which is D. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for C, which is at index of 2. We're going to add 2 to 8, that should be 4, and that should give us E. Okay, 0 1 2 3 4. Okay, now this is the encrypted text of this. Now you should understand how the whole encryption works. So if you have to decrypt it, the same thing applies. We're going to loop through this, but instead of adding, we're going to be subtracting. So what I mean is we're going to get the index of D, which is an index of 0 1 2 3. Then we're going to say 3 minus 2, which will give us 1. Then we're going to say 0 1, which will give us B back. And in case of C, E, now we're going to say 0 1 2 3 4. So that will be 4. The index of E, 4 minus 2, which will give us 3, which is 0 1 2, which will give us C back. Okay, so that is how you encrypt it, and that is how you also decrypt it. Okay, the key is the main thing we need. So if you lost your key, you lose the message. So I'm going to show you one other case real quick before we go into coding it. So I'm going to use Z as the message here, and then the key is going to be 2 as well. So now if we are giving Z and the message is 2, remember this our list is gonna be 26 items in the list, but since the index starts at 0, we're gonna have Z to be at the index of 25. So if I do 25 plus 2, which is 27, remember 27 is out of here. Okay, so we cannot pick, unfortunately we cannot pick an item at the index of 27. So what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna say 27 minus the length of the array. That should give us, no, this is 26. Okay, so that will be 27 minus 26, that should give you 1. Now if you try to get 1 here, that should be 0 1, so that would be B. Okay, so that would be the encryption of Z. Now if you want to decrypt this, it's gonna be the same way. So that would be 1 minus 2. So 1 minus 2 should give us minus 1. Now if you want to get minus 1, of course it's also less than the length of this list. So how do we do that? What you have to do is just do 26 plus minus 1. Okay, do you get that? So you see the same thing as doing 26 minus 1, so that will give us 25. And then what is an index of 25 is the same thing as Z. So that's how I encrypt to B, and then that's how I decrypt to Z. Okay, so that's how the encryption and decryption work. So without wasting time, we're going to be using classes to do this. And notice in most of my videos now, I just make use of functions, and at the end of the video I call the functions. So but in this video we're going to make it a little bit different. We're going to make use of classes. So we're going to do class. If you don't know what classes are, you can watch my video on classes. I'm going to link it down in the description below, and you should see a card about right now in the top right corner of your screen if you're watching it on YouTube. So we're going to do class, and then we're going to say Caeser, S-A-R, Cipher. Okay, we're just going to call it Cipher. So we're going to align this, clear that. So whenever we're initializing our function, we're going to pass in key. Okay, for now that's the only thing we're going to be passing in. I like this, and press Ctrl D to align the second one, and then we're going to change that to key. So we're also going to have our alphabet. So this is going to contain our list of characters, or better still characters. Okay, this is going to contain our list of characters. Now how do we get that? You can choose to type it one by one, ABC, all through to Z, or you can follow what I'm about to show you right now. So we're going to come to search for Python. You can open this. Okay, let's use this. I remember when we used to use this code when we started this channel. Okay, so what we're gonna do instead is you can do it in two ways. You can either do import string, and then do string dot ASCII uppercase. That's return all the uppercase, and then you can do plus lowercase. All we want is basically just to get all these characters somewhere. It can either be in a string or in a list. Okay, so if it was in a string, remember we say we're gonna get the index. For example, say if string dot ASCII uppercase. So to get the index, I'm just gonna do a dot index of b. That gives us one. Okay, see, we don't need to worry about having it in a list. It can also be in a string, but what I'm gonna prefer to use is I prefer to use a list. Okay, so you don't get confused. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna say character. But before I do that, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do clear that, and I'm gonna do chr and pass 50 to it. When I do this, you see it returns 2. So this actually, we have something we call, I can't remember the exact name right now, but it's kind of a table where you have each number mapping to a character for starting from digits to symbols. So for example, if I do character 67, we have C there. So the more you increment it, you have other letters. So this one gives me that. If I do 122, that should give me a small letter Z. Okay, so that is what this does. So what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna say list, and I'm gonna say character I for I in range 123. So what I'm doing here basically is I'm getting all the elements 0 to 123, and then I'm getting the characters at that index. So I'm gonna start from 0, which is gonna be, let me press enter so you see it's just this, and then up till we get to A, which is around, I think, 65 or something like that, and then we're gonna get to this, which is 122. Okay, so that's what I'm doing basically. This is still a list. I'm gonna copy that. If you don't understand, make sure you comment down in the description below. I'm gonna make sure I explain it. Okay, so we're gonna come here and paste it here. Okay, so you have that there, which contains all of this, but what we actually need here is A to Z. So the thing is, I've explained the concept of how this works to you. It's gonna be the same thing. Doesn't matter the length of the list, as long as you are following the same concept, it's gonna work well. So we're gonna create self dot list character len. We're gonna say len of character. So that should contain len of the character. So we have that. I'm gonna create the class down here. So when it's time to test cipher, Caeser Cipher, okay. So we're gonna pass in a key to it. Let's just give it 2. So when it's time to test, we'll just test it down here. Now we're gonna create a function. This function is gonna be called crypta. But okay, instead let's just call it encrypt. Encrypt is gonna take in self and message. Remember, we've taken key here, so we're gonna make use of this key instead. So whatever key we use to encrypt is what we're gonna be able to use to decrypt. We're gonna come in here and then we're gonna say encrypted text is equals to, we're gonna say self dot, we're gonna define this method later, so we're gonna call it crypta. Then we're gonna pass in our mode and message. So mode is gonna be encrypt and message. Okay, so we're gonna return encrypted text. Now don't worry, we're gonna define this function very soon. I just want to get this out of the way. So we're gonna do define decrypt, and then we're gonna say self message. So we're gonna call it decrypted text equals to self dot underscore crypta decrypt. We're gonna see why we have the mode here in a minute. Return. So the reason why I'm doing it this way is I can decide to write the code for encryption in here and the code for decryption in here separately. But when I wrote it earlier on, I noticed there's a lot of similarities. So basically, the codes are almost the same thing, just minute differences. So we're gonna deal with that in this crypta function instead. So we're gonna use encrypt the most to determine what we are doing. Don't worry about that. When we get into the function, I'm gonna see that it isn't complicated in any way. We're gonna do define. I'm gonna do crypta. It's gonna take in self mode and then message. Okay. Then the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna call output text. That will be our output text. And then what we're gonna do now is we're gonna say we're gonna look through for each item in the symbol. Now this is where we're gonna do the whole encryption magic. So we're gonna do for symbol in message. So we're gonna say if we want to make sure that symbol is in this list. Okay. So we want to make sure the symbol is inside this list, and then we're gonna say if symbol in self the character. What we want to do is we want to get the location of that symbol. Okay, so we're going to call it symbol location is equals to self the character dot find or dot index want to get the index of the symbol. Okay, that will be the location of that. So once we get that, that is out of the way. Now then we're gonna say else. So what this else means is if this symbol is not inside this character, we're gonna return invalid character. Okay, so that's so immediately it's a character that is not in this list. It's just gonna return invalid character, and then this is gonna return that here, and you see how we're gonna make use of that here. Okay, so we have that, and then we're gonna come down here. So cipher location, we're gonna create a variable called cipher location. That is gonna be the location of either the encrypted text or the decrypted text. Now let me explain this real quick. So we're gonna say if mode is equals to encrypt. I hope this isn't getting confusing in any way. This is simple as you can see. Okay, if mode is equals to encrypt, then we're gonna say cipher. We're gonna call it cipher location, and then we're gonna say symbol location plus self the key. I hope you see what I'm driving to here, which was what I explained earlier. So we're gonna say elif mode is equals to decrypt. We're gonna say now you see that we've gotten that out of the way. We've gotten the exact location of the cipher now. Remember, this can be more than 26, and this can also be less than 20 than 0. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna come down here. We're gonna say if our cipher location is greater than our character length. Okay, this is it here. Remember we did this earlier on. So if that's greater than our character length, what we want to do is our new cipher location is gonna be equals to, remember what we did, we're gonna say cipher location minus array length, character length rather, sorry about that. Okay, so that's the reason why I made this a variable, so we don't have to keep typing length of character every time. Okay, so character length, we're gonna make this equals to, now let me go over this real quick. So we're saying if our cipher location is 26, for example, though this is more than 26. Okay, so it's gonna be the same concept or idea behind it, but for example I'm gonna make use of 26 letters. Okay, so I'm gonna say if this is equals greater than or equals to 26, what I want to do is I'm gonna minus, let's assume it was 27, so we're gonna say 27 minus 26, which should give us 1. Okay, so if it's exactly 26, remember we are gonna have 0 to 25 if we have 26 items in the list. So remember I said assume this is A to Z, so this is gonna give us 26 in that case. And then if this is 26, we know we cannot just get an item at 26 to give us an index error. So what we're gonna do instead is we're gonna say 26 minus the length of that 26, which should give us 0. Okay, so this is the same thing what I explained earlier on. Now we're gonna say elif cipher location is less than 0. So this one is handling the case for decrypt now. Okay, so if that is less than 0, what I'll do now is cipher location is equals to cipher location plus, oh my goodness, I'm very sorry about that, character length. So what I'm saying is, for example, if you have -1, we want to do -1 plus 26, which should give us 25. According to what we explained earlier on, is the same thing. And then after we do all of that, we're gonna say output text is equals to output text plus, we're gonna say self the alphabet. So now we've gotten our the location. So if it was encrypt, we would add the key to it, and if it is more than Ctrl Z, okay, if it is more than this, we'll do all the necessary calculations we have to do, and then we'll get the item. Okay, so we're gonna say save the alphabet cipher location, and then we're gonna, after the loop, we're gonna return output text. Okay, so save the alphabet cipher location, but if it was decrypt, it's going to be minus key. We're going to undo the case of either greater than the length of the array or less than the length of the array. Okay, which is going to be less than 0, is the same thing. Not less than the length of array, sorry, less than 0. You understand what I mean, according to what I explained earlier on. So if this is less than that, this is what we're going to do, and we're going to add the symbol at that particular location. So this can never be out of index, which is simply what we've handled here. Okay, then we're gonna add that to this text. So for each symbol, we're gonna keep adding that. If it's a space, we're gonna get that. We're gonna keep adding that, and then at the end of everything, we're gonna return this output text. So if it was encrypted, we're gonna return this, and if it was decrypted, we're gonna return this. So now let's run the code. I'm gonna say message equals to hello there. So we're gonna say cipher dot encrypt. Okay, this is too much space. So we're gonna say cipher dot encrypt. Let's put in a variable. We're gonna say enc equals to cipher the encrypt. We're gonna call that message. Now that's the only thing we need to pass. We're gonna print enc. So if I should do Control B, oh, an error. Oh my, wow. Okay, so Control B again. Say length of character. Okay, not a big deal. This is supposed to be self. Remember, this is an instance variable. Okay, save the character. Save the character. Remember that. Okay, so we're gonna do Control B. Character length is not defined. Oh my, I don't know why I keep making that same mistake. I'm gonna do Control D to select all of that. Back, my arrow back, and then self to type at the same time. Okay, so we're gonna save that and then Control B. Wow, wow. See, it says subject has no attribute alphabet. Okay, so character, not alphabet. Okay, so if you saw those errors, good luck. Now you see we have this. Wow, I didn't know I made so much there. Okay, not a big deal anyway. So we have this. Now let's try to decrypt this. We're gonna say decrypt is equals to cipher dot decrypt. Then instead of passing the same message, we're gonna pass the encrypted message to it. Then now let's print decrypt. So if I should run it now, voila, we have our code working. Okay, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, then you should give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss my next epic content. Much love, guys. Peace out.